All right, it is time for film goals check-in. Hey everyone, it is Shannon, and I'm super excited to be here today and to share with you this video. This is going to be my second update for how my film goals for 2023 is doing. I am pretty excited about this. I initially thought that I hadn't made a lot of progress, but when I started just pulling everything together, I was like, oh, actually, I have made some good progress because I've seen 3 new movies and something that wasn't a movie, which always makes things complicated. And I made progress on my all the films I've ever seen list. And most exciting, I actually finished one of my 5 goals. So I have now made my most anticipated films from 4 of 2023. So yeah, that was one of my goals, was to make a most anticipated list of the year, most anticipated films of the year, and I did it. Woohoo! Let me know if you would like to see a separate video about that. I am just really excited, and I set aside some time, and I mean, it's something that I've done many different years, and I have the actors and directors that I always want to see the work they're in. I have all of the films that didn't come out in previous years that we were thinking were going to come out in those years, and then I just, I did some, Google searches and some Wikipedia-ing, and voila, 32 films that I was like, yep, I want to see that appeared. And it actually might be 33 now because I think I saw a commercial for something. But yeah, I'm really excited about that, and hopefully it'll give me some good motivation and combat decision fatigue, because if and when any of those titles become available to watch, I want it to be an easy yes, because I already know, yes, I said that I'm interested in seeing this. Now, I'm not committing myself to seeing it, but it's just anything that combats decision fatigue, I am all in for. So yeah, one of my 5 goals is now complete. Go me! Yay! I actually can't even remember what the other 4 are. Oh, Fast and Furious, doing all the films I've ever seen, figuring out what I love about film, and oh wow, so that's 4 out of 5. Wow, I don't even know what all of my goals are. I'm like, they're over there. Well, maybe I'll remember the other one as we go. Anyway, so that's the progress. 1 out of 5 done. I hope I didn't do that for the last video. I don't think so. I don't think I had that done. No, I'm pretty sure that was more recent. Anyway, let's get to the movies that I saw. I did see 3 films and one other thing. So the first film that I watched was The Man in the White Suit. This is from 1951. It stars Alec Guinness, who you may know as Obi-Wan Kenobi from the original Star Wars trilogy. It was adapted from a play. I watched this on Canopy. I watched it, I'll be honest, I think I mostly watched it because it was Alec Guinness, and also it was pretty short. I think it was an hour and a half. It might have been an hour and 20 minutes, and I had been enjoying watching classics and watching black and white films, so I thought I would give this one a go. It was entertaining. It was about a man, he's a scientist, and he's trying to create the ultimate fiber for fabrics to make them make it so that they will never wear and never get dirty. And so, but it's really complicated and expensive, and it has a lot of hijinks in it in terms of like a drama, because I guess I don't know if it's a drama or maybe it's a comedy. I'm not sure. I feel like the plot is a drama, but they had all of this sort of like not goofy, but like kind of goofy, like him like hiding behind something, and and getting like out of frame so no one would see him kind of stuff. So it was a bit strange. It was just a bit unusual. I was like not sure how I was supposed to take this, if it was supposed to be funny or not funny. I don't know. Anyway, for me, it was just a joy to see Alec Guinness because I love like Obi-Wan Kenobi. And I don't think I've seen much of him earlier, because this is like 25 years earlier. And I know I've probably seen something from the 50s with him. There's a lot of like large cast classics that I'm sure he's in some of those. But this is the first thing where I've seen that he's the lead, full stop. And he was good, but it wasn't quite what what I was expecting, and I didn't love it. It was fine. I was very surprised to see that it was Oscar nominated for Best Writing. I did not. I didn't think the writing was bad, but I didn't think it was great. There is a bit of a social issues element that comes into play. It was adapted from a play. Maybe that had something to do with it. I'm not sure. So I think it didn't make a huge impression, but it was fine. So yeah, so I watched that. So I don't know what to do with that in terms of, watching films the story was good, and I would actually say that films that are based on plays do tend to have a good story. So story isn't necessarily, for me, the most important thing. But, I don't know. Anyway, and then I went on to watch A Scandal in Paris. This is from 1946. It's in black and white, and it's based on the journals of a man who was a grifter and then became the Paris police chief. Apparently based on a true story. That's the impression it gave. I did not look into it too much, but I think it's true. I don't know. I can't remember if I looked it up. Anyway, so this one, I, again, didn't make a huge impression. And I guess I had a couple real wins with like older films that were in black and white or classics or whatever. And then these two, neither of them made a strong impression. One of the interesting things about this one was that how the main character spoke was so familiar that I couldn't figure out if I knew who the actor was. I assume it's George Sanders. I couldn't figure out if I knew him and seen him and stuff, or it was just the way people spoke at that time. It was just a very, and then it's also really strange because it's in English, featuring, I think, mostly a British cast, but it's set in Paris about, so it's like, but the only people who were French were not the main cast. And I'm like, and that just now feels very unusual. But when I was growing up and watching classics, I didn't think twice about that because that's how a lot of classics were. And now it feels like that doesn't feel great. So I don't know. Again, didn't make a huge impression except for the fact that it made me realize, oh, not all older film, classic film, I don't know if this is considered a classic, black and white film, is going to be a huge win. Like, they were both like 7.5, 7. So they were fine. I didn't regret watching them, but it didn't bring, there wasn't something I really enjoyed or looked forward to, or there. So, yeah, I don't know. And then I did make it through Hidden. I don't remember if I talked about this in my first update. This is around 2015. It stars Andrea Riseborough, Alexander Skarsgård, and Emily Lynn Lind, or it might be Lynn Lynn. This is a film that I started watching with my last set of films, but it was so dark in terms of what's on the screen, and it was still bright out in terms of what the time of day I was watching, so I couldn't see anything. So I belayed it, and then I watched it this time around, and it's a sort of post-apocalyptic, pandemic-y-ish feel. It's like, it's not clear what's going on or what happened or how things happen, but it follows a family, a small family, just of 3 that are hidden their away. And so it's got lots of tension in terms of what's going on, what happened, and all of this stuff. I would say this, and this one had, okay, so about the film itself, this one actually really surprised and impressed me. I thought the acting was really good. I thought the writing was really good. I thought the tension was really good. I have a hard time with sort of survivalist films, and I'm very much on the cusp of just not watching them at all. But this one, I felt like I would give it a chance, and especially because it was made pre-pandemic. It's not necessarily pandemic, but I just decided to stick with it. And part of that is because partway through, I was like, I think I've seen this. And I didn't think that, given it's from 2015 and I've done my data entry as far back as 2015, I didn't think to go look back and see if it was on my list while I was watching it. Because it just, something happened that was so specific, and I'm like, oh, I've seen this scene before. I've seen this. And then that made me think, okay, fine, I'll just rewatch it. I'm partway through. So what? It's a rewatch. Who cares? I don't have a goal this year of watching X amount of new films. I just want to watch movies, and I'm going to watch it. And it made me relax into it because I realized, if I had seen this before, it can't be too scary or go down the routes I hate that survivalist films do. So let me just sort of relax into it. Another half an hour in, I'm like, I haven't seen this. so it was a bit of a journey, like not just the film itself, but the experience of watching it. So, and then as it turns out, it was actually done by the Duffer Brothers, who went on to do Stranger Things. So, and I can see the some of the elements, not specifics, but sort of like the tone, and that the fact that it's rooted in a good story and that kind of thing. So I was like, oh, okay, this makes more sense now. That being said, I'm not up to date on Stranger Things, so no spoilers. I want to go back to the beginning, but it's just the episodes in the final season, the length of the episodes are often like movie length, and that feels like quite a commitment and not like TV level commitment, so I am a little stumped on what to do. I do want to go back to the beginning, I know that. Anyway, so I enjoyed this a lot. I also really do like Alexander Skarsgård, I will admit it, just Team Eric all the way, but I've seen him in other stuff, and I actually think he is quite a good actor, and I thought he was really good in this. And this did have good storytelling and really quite good acting, and sort of changed, like, just sort of, it got me. I thought it got me. It was much more engaging and interesting than I expected. Now, the one thing that I watched that I wasn't a movie was part of Theatre of War's presentations. They do, I'll leave a link to their website down below. They have done, through the pandemic, you can sign up for free to watch performances of usually classic plays, selections often of classic plays, and then they pair them with usually social issues. And then they have discussions about the social issues. And the plays or the play performances are often done with a combination of like well-known actors and people from more community theater level. I don't like using that term, but I think it lets people know that what they're working with. And this one did do that. And so I watched, it was Ajax, which is one of the characters from, is it the Odyssey and the Iliad? And Ajax was played by Keith David. And I'm not familiar with the play itself. It's by Sophocles. But I know the character of Ajax from reading the Odyssey and the Iliad, and watching films like Troy. I'm pretty sure. Was Ajax in it? Was he? It wasn't. Anyway, so it was, and the Ajax's wife is played by Taylor, I can't remember her last name. She's the lead in Orange is the New Black. And then the chorus was filled out by people from the like more community theater. And this had a military tie to it because of Ajax being, a fighter. And anyway, so where am I going with any of this? One, it was a really powerful showcase of the elements of the story. Now I do want to read the whole play. It was a tough one. It was for like Loneliness Awareness Week, and it had some tough mental health themes. So, but I guess where I'm going with this is that I do like watching other things, and this was a really, just because this wasn't a film doesn't mean it wasn't engaging viewing experience. And you're watching, like, I mean, it's Keith David, like it's just like, that was just like, and the woman who played his wife was very good, and she's often in their performances. So I'll leave the information for Theatre of War down below if you want to sign up for their newsletter her, find out what productions that they're sharing, and it was really good. And the conversation afterward was, people were really real with their feelings and responses to it, and they really made it an open space for that. And so it was really cool to, and I've watched several of them, but I haven't been to one in a while. So it's just a very unique way of engaging. And so I thought I would share that in cases of interest to anyone else. So that was my unexpected, and it's also like not a film, so I don't put it in my film database, but it was more theater, and that was great. I love theater. I miss the theater. And so it was nice to have the opportunity to watch that. I did not, even though I posted this in my Instagram stories, I didn't end up watching Too Fast, Too Furious yet, so that's on the docket for the next time that I watch movies. I watched the first 5 minutes, and I was distracted, and I ended up not finishing it. I don't know if maybe I need a different time, or a particular time, or a dedicated time for rewatches. I find when I sit down to watch movies, even though I don't have a goal of watching X amount of new movies this year, for some reason when I have the time to watch movies, I want to watch new movies, even though it's my goal to watch the Fast and the Furious films. Just rewatching has a different energy, and I find it harder to settle for some reason. Although one thing that does help me settle, and I did mention this last week, is having a knitting project. So I will show my progress on my sock, which looks huge, like absolutely gaping huge at this point. But yeah, so I got the heel flap on. Yay. I think that's all I did. And oh no, and then I decreased for the heel. So now it looks like a heel. I did not use the knit one, slip one. And I don't know if that was a mistake, but my goal is actually just really to sort of understand stock patterns. I almost forgot to add the heel flap. I almost went to the decreasing for the heel without doing that, because I'm not really following a pattern. So I think the next thing I definitely have to do is pick up the stitches and then do the decreases. So I need to find a video or someone online who has shared that, or look at one of the many books I have on knitting. And yeah, so I definitely feel like having a sock or having any knitting to work on, it's really helpful for me in terms of keeping my focus. But I need something, I think, because right now I'm sort of figuring out this pattern, and I need something that's more just like knitting around again and again and again. So I got to pick something to cast on that I don't have that barrier to getting to watching movies, because even with this, it's not going to take that long. I have to pick up the stitches and then reduce in the round, alternating rounds, I think. I just have to figure out which side is slip, slip, knit, and which side is K2 tog. So I just have to figure that out, and then figure out the length of my foot, and then I'm going to be casting off. So reducing and then casting off. So it's not going to be that long. So I need something, or a scarf, something that's like a really easy knot. So that's a to-do list for me, is figure out the next step in the sock, and then also the other part of that is I need a longer term project so that I don't get whatchamacallit, that I have, it helps me settle when I watch a movie. So in terms of my data entry, I'm very excited to share that I entered not only 2011, which was my next goal, but I also ended up entering 2022. When I started my spreadsheet, it was in the middle of 2022, so I actually didn't use 2022 because that list was growing until the end of the year. So I've added 2 more years, so now I'm complete from 2022 all the way back to the beginning of 2011. And it was interesting to see some of the films that came up. It actually was a very high volume film year. It was very much in the height of like when I was going to a lot of film festivals. I was doing DVD reviews. I occasionally got to an advanced screening. I went to the movies probably weekly, if not more. And I saw 290 new to me films that year, and I didn't have any rewatches listed. So now going backwards, I'm not going to have probably any rewatches listed. I was going to share a whole bunch of my favorites from that last year, but this video is getting a bit long. Maybe I'll just share them verbally. So these are mostly 2011 releases, but these are some of my favorites from that year. Country Strong, Discovering Hamlet, which was a documentary with Kenneth Branagh about can't remember about Hamlet. Obviously, the play. Lots of book to film love in this year. Both The Eagle and Jane Eyre were favorites, as well as The Wuthering Heights from 2011. It was the year that Fast 5 came out. It was the year that Thor came out. Also, I watched Weekend at the Inside Out Film Festival. Loved that. The Tree of Life by Terrence Malick. Love that. Happy Thank You More Please. Really love that. But I honestly don't remember it at all, so that would be worth a rewatch. Another Earth, which made me think about speculative fiction as opposed to everything being science fiction. Breaking Dawn Part 1. Troll Hunter. The Guard. The Guard is one of my all-time favorite movies. Like, absolutely. It's a dark comedy, and I just love it so much. And also one of my all-time favorite movies, and a movie that made me realize that there might be a good this might be a good opportunity to watch the works of a particular director, and that is, I'm trying to get the poster here, and that is Drive, which is directed by Nicholas Winding Refn. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, Refn, and I don't know if his last name is Winding Refn or if his middle name is Winding, I'm not sure. Anyway, so Drive, loved it so much, and I've actually seen 8 out of 10 of the films that this director has done. The only 2 I haven't seen, and I'm not 100% sure I haven't seen them, but there's a film called Bleeder from 1999 that is a Danish crime film. It's unlikely I've seen it. I don't know where or how you can get it. Didn't look into purchasing the DVD, but it's not on any streaming service. And the other one that I haven't seen or probably haven't seen is Fear X, which is on Tubi, and it's a Denmark-UK co-production psychological thriller with John Turturro, James Remar, and Deborah Kara Unger. Definitely feel like I used to want to watch more super intense films, and he does super intense film. And I mean, the Pusher trilogy, if you haven't seen it and you like crime films, I mean, it's intense. And the third film has a different approach to things, but it's really intense. It's also on Tubi. So that's one that when I was going through that and I saw Drive, and I was like, I wonder how many films of his I've seen. So 8 out of 10 ain't bad. And I also realized I had watched, in that year, I watched a Fellini film, and I really do like Federico Fellini's films. And so that he is also a director that might go on my list of trying to see everything that he's done. So the tally is, so if you don't want to know the numbers till I'm completely done, we can say goodbye here, and I'll see you in the next one. But the current tally in my film database, adding 2022 and 2011, I'm now at 1,372 films seen for the first time. So we got over 1,000. Last time it was like 900 and something. So over 1,000, and I have 5 more years of data entry to do. I'm really curious as to what that number is going to end up being. And I guess I got to get to 2010 in terms of that. So that's how my film watching, viewing, theater watching, data entry, listing has been going. I actually really hadn't realized how much progress I had made, but I actually have made a lot of progress. 2 years entered, 1 film list done. I guess because I didn't watch Too Fast, Too Furious, I felt like I'm behind, but there's always this week. So we'll see if I watch it this week. And so let me know what you're watching. Let me know if you've made 2023 most anticipated films, and if you would like to see a video of the 32-ish films I picked for my most anticipated film seen. And I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.